Let's go!
Hey guys, Erwan Heussaff here, and today we're going to be talking about something that all of us go through, and that is procrastination. This is a subject that for me is very personal because I've dealt and still deal with this quite a bit. And I always go back to think of high school. Think of the crazy pressure we used to have in high school or in university or in college or whatever you call it with exams. Exams would freak me out. And what was funny is that you'd always show up right before an exam. And there was always that one person, or two maybe, sitting down who looked calm and who looked like they had their stuff together and who weren't stressed. They were like, oh, there's a math exam today. Yeah, I'm okay. So that example really shows us that the exam wasn't stressful. The exam wasn't causing anxiety. The exam wasn't hard. It was how that person reacted to that exam. So I found myself stressing for an exam, and I had a friend next to me who felt really calm and wasn't stressing for that exam. So what's the difference between those two people? One person was probably studying for weeks in advance, and so they felt prepared mentally to take the exam, and they were probably well rested. The other person, me in this case, had to cram. So I spent all night or 2 nights really studying hard and cramming everything. So I show up, not enough sleep, tired, frazzled, and kind of like everything I tried to cram in 2 days just jumbled up in my head, causing me to be stressed about that exam. And the main cause of that was because I procrastinated. I put off doing the work I had to do because I always thought, oh, I'll just do it tomorrow. I'll start tomorrow. I have more time. I don't need to do this right away. That's a great example because we all went through that. So it's, I think, very relatable to people. If you look at the definition of procrastination, it means to basically do nothing instead of doing something like that. It's probably, I don't know, I put it up in text, the exact definition of it. That's how I understand it. It's to put off things when you actually have things to do. The main reasons people do that, the number one is they think they work better under pressure most of the time. I'm a good crammer. I do really well with short deadlines. Number two is it's too hard. It's too difficult. I don't understand it. I don't know where to start. So it's seeing that huge task and not knowing what to do with it. And the third is being scared, that fear of something. So it's better for me to ignore it completely. So when you think about it, the only way to kind of combat procrastination is to take that first step. A lot of people have said, and there's probably a book written about it, where the hardest step to take is usually that first one. And that's not your fault. That's not my fault. It's human nature. We have a fight or flight response. Our bodies and the way our bodies react to certain situations want to avoid uncomfortable situations. So if something makes you uncomfortable, you want to completely avoid it. And that's why you're saying things like, oh, it's too hard, or I have a fear of that. I don't want to look at it because it causes me stress and anxiety, or I'm only going to do it because there's a deadline, because there's an exam tomorrow, because I need to submit a report, a financial report tomorrow. So that deadline is what's going to make me do it. And so once you understand that, once you try to put yourself in one of those categories, you'll start to understand what you can do to go against that procrastination, right? Number one, if your excuse is, I'm better under pressure, fair enough. You do get adrenaline from a deadline, from an exam, or for something that is stressful and that you know you need to do in a limited amount of time. The adrenaline that's pumping through your body will help you get things done. And if you're the kind of person that enjoys that grit, enjoys that grind, fair enough, great. You work well under pressure. But I always ask those people, what if you were to apply that in a longer time frame? So instead of putting all that incredible pressure on yourself on like 2 days or 1 day, what if you were to apply that same productivity, but over a week or over a month? How much better would you be? I think you'd be so much more prepared. You'd be able to do things incredibly fast. You'd be able to apply yourself so much better. Take the example of a dentist doing an incredibly complex surgery in your mouth that is really tough and very rare to do. Would you rather that doctor have spent a month studying the procedure and then feeling confident and being calm and being well rested to do that procedure on you? Or would you rather him have studied overnight for it and not slept, but he's still ready to do it? He's still gonna perform, he's still gonna do well. He's not as comfortable and he's not as calm because obviously it was a very stressful environment to get that amount of information just overnight. Which would you rather? The result's the same, it's pretty much the same. You just have more trust in the one that's been organized and been doing it for a while. So yes, you can do certain things in a shortened time span. The adrenaline will get you through, your experiences will get you through. But if you have the discipline and the routine and the habits to organize yourself before a deadline with a comfortable amount of time, you'll be so much better at something. So that's always something I always tell myself because I find myself in that category quite a bit. So by basically taking a huge task, breaking it up into multiple days and telling yourself, oh, I have to do task A, subsection B today, it'll just force you to kind of get organized. Number 2, people saying, I don't know where to start. And that's why I'm procrastinating, because I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to look. For me, that is the biggest BS excuse ever, because we have so much information at the tip of our fingers, both on the internet and both through the way we can connect with other people as quickly as possible. So if you're stopping yourself from doing something because you feel like you don't know where to go, don't know who to talk to, you don't know where to start, you don't know how to take that first step, that is literally just an excuse you're giving yourself, because it is actually quite easy to find the information you need to begin anything. A lot of people used to say that they don't know where to start when it comes to working out. If this was in the 80s or 70s, I'd be like, okay, understandable. It might be hard to find someone to talk to give you a program or whatever. Today, you go on Rebel, you have thousands, well, almost soon, thousands of videos to choose from to help you just get started and to help just give you more information about what you need to know. So if you're that person in that category, seek out that information, take that first step. Don't stop yourself from beginning, because that's basically just having a very defeatist mentality. And finally, the third category of people who are usually procrastinating quite a bit are the people who are scared of certain things. And this I also relate to quite well. Imagine, I don't know, a broken chair, or we've all seen, let's say in your house, you spilled something really gross on the floor and you don't want to clean it, or you don't like doing dishes and there's going to be a pile of dishes in your sink. And every day you pass, in front of it and you just choose to ignore it and not look at it, because looking at it will give you anxiety. If you can understand the dish analogy, I'll go down that path, because I feel like that's something that I used to do in university quite a bit. I used to cook, eat. And then 3 days later, that's when I would clean everything. But that pile 3 days later was huge. And I'd look at it and be like, I really don't want to do it. And I only forced myself to do it because the stench was really bad and it just looked gross. So I had to do it, and I forced myself to do it. And then I changed my tactic. And then I started, after every time I cooked something or every time I ate off a plate, I would clean it right away. It would add literally 30 seconds to a minute to do that, but then I would never have that issue of a huge pile of dishes. And that's how I see a lot of people who procrastinate with work. Again, it relates to number 1 in terms of having that pressure to do something because of a deadline, but also relating to that video I did about motivation, that you need to understand how to break up a huge task and make it into smaller tasks for you to be able to get through them quicker, more efficiently, and more productively. So you're better off doing something small every day instead of waiting 2 weeks to doing something huge that freaks you out. Chipping away at something every day will make it less scary eventually. Whereas if every day you're thinking about this one big thing you have to do in 2 weeks, it's gonna freak you out. Your stress levels are gonna go high. Your anxiety levels are gonna go high, and you just won't wanna do anything because it's too uncomfortable. And the natural reaction of your body to an uncomfortable situation is to stay away, to ignore it, to run away from it. But we all know that the best things happen to us once we get over uncomfortable situations. That's today's daily habit. See you guys.